Hello everybody, and welcome back once again to the video I think I typically like to end my year with. Which is my top 10 movies of 2025 and my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2026. And apparently I really like to do this last second because I am again as second year running recording it on the 31st of December. Don't ask. It's fine. Totally fine. So first off, I want to apologize for the lackluster amount of videos this year toward movie reviews. I want to do more movie reviews, but I have so many games to play. Where does the time go? But anyways, it's been a very interesting year for movies for me. And as I was going through making my list for the top 10 of both, it's definitely noticeable. Like, obviously, I know who I am, right? So, like, I can tell what I'm gonna like the next year, most likely. And this year's top 10 is definitely interesting. There isn't as much that stands out to me this year. So we'll definitely see. But first, we're going to go with our honorable mentions. Some things I just want to quickly mention, and a couple that were on my top 10 of last year that did not make the top 10, which is top 13. I'll explain why when we get there, of this year's list. First one to mention is The Unbreakable Boy. It was in my top 10 of next year's list last year. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Zachary Levi did a very good job. I overall very much enjoyed and I cried. But it's one of those situations where things just kind of pushed it down. And normally, like, The Best Christmas Pageant Ever was really up there, and Ordinary Angels was really up there. So that studio I really like. But there was just some things that I really liked more this year, which is kind of crazy to think about. Bad Guys 2, also on the list. Which, by the way, Unbreakable Boy was number 14 on my list. Bad Guys 2, number 17. Thoroughly enjoyed this movie again, just got pushed down. Number 19 on the list was Good Boy. Good Boy is a horror movie about a dog. It was very great. I loved it. Number 25 is Shelby Oaks, the kickstarted Shelby Oaks movie by Chris Stuckman. I liked it. I need to rewatch it again. I will rewatch it again down the line, but it is definitely a movie in which felt like it could have had more, but it was his first, so like there was definitely things that I liked, and I just think I just need to give it another watch. But I definitely still like the movie. Number 24, Final Destination Bloodlines. Very good movie. Still really liked it, just got pushed down. And Until Dawn, which is way down at number 48. I figured this would probably happen. I liked the movie, do not get me wrong. I still like the movie, and I think the movie brought some interesting aspects to Until Dawn that I don't think we knew before. But it is a cool idea. It's still one of those movies, though, that in the end, it's there for the kills, and it's there to be like a mini horror movie. Okay, so we are here. We are at my top 10 of 2025. I don't know how fast this list is going to go. Typically, it takes me about an hour to record this. It is very early in the morning. So this year, I'm going to say my apologies. I'm going to do my best to edit this. I have less than a day to edit it. But I'm going to cut out myself yawning and things like that. I know that was a feedback, and I appreciated whoever gave that to me this past year, I think it was. So I will do my best. If I miss something, it's because I missed it, but I'm going to try not to. So I will do my absolute best to create a good experience for you in this video. And I hope you're excited to find out my top 10s for this year and my anticipated ones for next year and how they compare to last year. That's what we do here. So, rounding out the top, and I'm starting at number 13 because two of these movies are streaming releases. One of them did release in theaters for 2 weeks before hitting streaming, and it did stay in some theaters after the 2 weeks, but It's a certain company, and their movies typically get thrown out and these off to the side because they have intended to always release them primarily on their streaming platform, and that to me takes it really out of the theatrical release window. So typically when we have those, I try to add them back in. There's also a third one, which was a strict movie, but it's based off of something else. So I didn't want to leave that. Didn't want to take it away from another one. So we're starting at number 13, which is kind of crazy because it rounded out my top 10 list last year, is Zootopia 2. This is one of the fastest billion-dollar movies Disney has ever had. Very insane. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, but again, just one of those situations where things got pushed down. There were a couple of gripes I had. One thing at the beginning, and their dynamic relationship throughout, but was not enough to not have me give it 5 stars. It was super adorable, super great, super enjoyable through and throughout. Zootopia 2 is a great time. I'm sure most people have seen it, but if you have not, go give it a watch. It is a very fun and energetic and enjoyable movie, and I would highly, highly recommend checking it out. I can't remember if I give details about the movies too heavily in here, but if you don't know what that's about, which I'm sure you do, the movie follows Judy and our other character that I can't believe I'm forgetting. Nicholas Wilde and Judy Hopps. Oh my goodness, I just remembered it as I was going. And this is their journey to help a snake primarily help him get back into Zootopia, because apparently snakes were removed from Zootopia at some point. So that's your basic summary of the movie. And I think it's very similar to the first film in terms of story, but that doesn't mean the story is bad at all. I just think it means that, again, it's similar. It's been done before, but I don't think it's bad. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing to say, oh, they've done something similar to this before. Okay, number 12, Wake Up, Dead Man. Knives Out 3. Wake Up, Dead Man was number 6 on my list. Now, again, when you do these kind of lists, things are bound to change from year to year. And that's one of the most interesting things to see, is if you see your previous list from the last year, and you see it, and then you see where it really ends up. It went about 6 back, which is kind of funny that it was number 6 and it went back. I had a real hard time kind of shuffling these around to making them fit for what I felt. I actually wanted to mention, Unbreakable Boy. Unbreakable Boy was actually in my top 10. It was in place of the number 10 one when we get to it. And I ended up moving it out because I enjoyed the number 10 movie just a hair more. And it's kind of crazy because when you look at these lists, like some of the other ones that are further down, like Paddington in Peru, Dogman, Life of Chuck, Roofman, Predator Badlands, Caught Stealing, Weapons, Naked Gun, F1, like all these movies that I'm like, man, I really like that movie. 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 And then you look and you're like, but these movies are on a different level for me, right? And Wake Up Dead Man kind of shifted around in here, but that's one of those. It's a movie that I really, really liked, and I feel like it should be higher, but then I see all the other ones, and I'm like, yeah, no, I really like those too. And is this one of the most rewarding things to do at the end of the year, is make these top 10s, get to talk about it, but you also get to experience something different. And that's seeing how your mind changes. So that this video is very much for me, just as it is for you, but seeing how my mind changed from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Was I very similar? Was I very different? And it's a really cool thing for me to be able to do every year and then share that with you too. But Wake Up Dead Man is the third Knives Out movie. The last one currently in the set of 2 that Netflix had, making it a trilogy of 3 different movies that have only Benoit Blanc in common. This one follows Benoit Blanc going to help a priest who's been accused of committing the murders of, I think it's another priest? I think so. He was kind of an assistant priest. But this movie, I knew I was going to like it. I had no doubts that I was going to enjoy the movie. It was definitely a little bit different. You don't get to Benoit Blanc for like an hour of the movie, right? Like, it's kind of crazy how long it takes for you to get to Benoit Blanc. But that's not a bad thing. He was in it just enough. Like, I don't think... I mean, I obviously would love more of him, but I don't think you necessarily need that. And at some points, this one felt higher stakes than the other one. There was a particular scene that I remember that I was like, whoa! This kind of got dark a little bit too, like, a little bit fast, you know? And that kind of thing, in a certain manner, kind of raises the stakes a little bit when you're not expecting it to go to a place it goes to, and you're like, okay, I see. And I love how this one, a character influences Benoit Blanc, which when he gets to his very big aha moment of revealing everything, it definitely shows, because Benoit Blanc's character, as the movie likes to say, and I hope this isn't a spoiler, a road to Damascus moment. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry, you can watch the movie and you'll get the gist. But that's a very unique way of building his character. And his character, you know, is a very against religion type of character. So it makes you question a lot, and it brings up a lot of interesting queries for you to think about on top of the simple but yet complicated mystery. And this one actually felt like a mystery. Like, I like Glass Onion, but Glass Onion in the end to me felt kind of like a mystery but not a mystery. And if you've seen it, I think you understand what I mean. But with this one, it felt very much like a mystery. Like, it felt like my brain had to work a little bit to figure it out. And it wasn't a kind of a reverse psychology moment, if that makes any sense. But overall, I would say I thoroughly enjoyed the film. I wish Netflix would release it physically so I could add it to my collection. I'm still very much, as much as I love these movies, I'm limiting how much I watch them on Netflix, the Knives Out movies, because I really, really hate that Netflix is keeping them from having a physical release, which is so, like, shitty of them, to be honest. I hate using that type of language, but it's really bad. I am quite upset at Netflix for how they handle that, which is kind of crazy, because 3 of these movies this year are Netflix movies. So, on my top 10 lists. But also, oh, you know what? Unbreakable Voice should have been on the list, because I didn't include, I either didn't include Wake Up Dead Man, or one of the later ones. I think I didn't include Wake Up Dead Man in there. Okay, that's fine. That's the most theatrical release of them all, so that's fair. Anyhow, very enjoyable movie. I highly recommend you check it out. If you want to go check it out on Netflix, feel free. Don't let my biases stop you from checking out a good movie. But if you would like to, please do so. It is a very good movie. Next on the list, which I believe was not in my top 10. I think it was in my honorable mentions, though. Elio. And this one was, again, one I was shocked that got so low. Typically, if you've watched the last couple of years, you know I typically like having an animated film in the top 10, but more so, typically near the top of the list. And even though there are a couple of these that are animated films, I would say this year, I really don't have one animated film toward the top like that. I would say there is one I'd count as an animated film that was so cool, but not anything like my typical animated films. Not like The Wild Robot that I absolutely adore. But Elio was such a sweet movie about a kid who just really wanted to belong, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, which is why I think Elio was quite good. I think it didn't get nearly as much credit as it probably deserved, but like, I cried through that movie. I saw that movie 2 or 3 times, and I cried through it. I want to watch it again, to be honest. I want to get that movie. You know, let me make a... yeah, I'll have to look it up. I'll have to look it up and see how much it costs, because there's several movies here I want to own that I have not owned yet. And I can point those out. Zootopia 2 I definitely want to own, and Elio I definitely want to own out of this list. Unbreakable Boy only got a DVD release, so I'm not buying a DVD. There's no reason to have a lower quality version than what I can get digitally. It's not really worth it, in my opinion. So, but it follows Elio, and he really wants to fit in, and he ends up getting kind of abducted by aliens, and basically says he's the leader of Earth. I'm sorry, Earth. And it's his journey kind of coming to realization that he is cared for, he does belong. And there is some other stuff in there. I haven't watched it again in quite a while. It came out in June. I haven't done a rewatch since then. I need to rewatch it. Next year, I'm going to try to maybe rewatch some of the ones in my top 10 before then. And also, I do have to notice, like, my top 10 movies definitely seem to be later in the year movies. No, not all of them are. I mean, Zootopia was November, Wake Up Dead Man was November. They actually came out on the same day. Elio was June, and then most of these other ones are later in the year. Actually, I think except for one, and that might be my top one. But you have to have some really good movies in the first, like, from like January to like May. You need to have some good ones in there, and I know we'll have a good one this year coming up. That'll be my top 10. But it is very easy to fall under the good movie. The good movies typically get saved for the bigger times, and that's typically between May and December, and more specifically time period wise, May and August, and November and December. It's typically the months in which have the bigger, better movies. So, or the more popular movies, I should say. But Elio, fantastic movie. I'm a much bigger fan of Pixar's personal films and less of the sequels. Like Inside Out 2 I enjoyed, but it wasn't nearly as entertaining as things like Elio to me. Because there's a more personal story there, and I like those personal stories. It's like Luca, which is one of my favorite Pixar movies, you know, or Ratatouille. The more original ones. Now, of course, I want a Ratatouille 2. I want it. But their more original films have more of a grasp for me. And I really liked Elio in that aspect. It should be on Disney+, so if you haven't seen it, please do give it a shot if you would like. Going down to number 10, we're going to the opposite end of the spectrum now. We are now at Black Phone 2, which was on my top 10 list at number 5. Again, duplicated. Wow. That was not intentional. But Black Phone 2 is actually the movie that flipped with The Unbreakable Boy, and I did a whole bunch of shifting around here at the end. My top, 5 or so didn't change too much. One other one got boosted up to the top toward the end, but my top, 4 didn't really change too much. But it's always bound to change, because when I add them, I'm adding them remembering I like them, right? So you go from the start of the year to the end of the year. I start adding them slowly, and they're all, the start of the year, they're all at the top, and then it slowly has all the top of the year ones start falling down and 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 so on and so forth. So, but Black Phone 2, sequel to The Black Phone, which is weird that the titling removed the, but whatever. This continues where the last one left off, pretty much, except this time they're going to a winter camp to try to find out more about their mom, who used to go to that winter camp, which I'm very much appreciative of, because it's very nice to go a little more in depth to that, It's very interesting how, this is not the movie I expected it to be. Black Phone 2 is not the movie I expected it to be, but I still really liked the movie. It's kind of funny, too, because I just got this movie in on Blu-ray today. 4K Blu-ray, I have it in my hand right now. And Ethan Hawke, again, wild performance. And I have some thoughts. I really wanted to do more movie reviews this year, especially on things like Black Phone 2, but I never got around to it. But, there's things about the Grabber's character that I feel like I pieced together a little bit in this movie that made me think of the character in a little bit of a different way and kind of expand on his character a little bit more so than the average viewer would probably look. And personally, I am, very excited to see if they do a Black Phone 3. And, the cast was amazing. They did such a good job. Scott Derrickson did a very good job. And the only thing I would say is the beginning uses the same, theme song, which is cool and all. But it felt like it kind of cut into it a lot, really fast. The first one kind of felt more natural going into it, into the opening credits. The second one felt like a little jolty when it switched over from the opening scene to the opening credits. Didn't feel like it fit as much, but it wasn't a drastic difference that you would notice that much. And the setting was very interesting. And just to bring it up, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 came out this year as well. Except, and I've talked to a couple people about it, it probably would have been better if Black Phone 2 had released in December and Five Nights at Freddy's had released in October, because Five Nights at Freddy's is the more horror-ish thing, I would say, there, and since Black Phone 2 takes place in the winter, I think it probably would have been better if that movie had released in December amongst the winter releases, although Black Phone 2 releasing when it did was a good idea, because it did dominate the market. It got a lot of big theaters because Mortal Kombat 2 got moved, and, obviously that's another thing too, is they probably were figuring they would be going up against Mortal Kombat as well, but then it moved, so, but that is what it is. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I hope they do a third. It's very rare for Blumhouse to do sequels. I mean, the only ones that they really did sequels for are Halloween. And I think they're involved in Insidious a little bit, because I think they're coming out with the next Insidious. And speaking of Blumhouse, Saw 11 did not come out this year. That was on my top 10 list last year, for this year. And it's now owned by Blumhouse, half owned and half owned by Lionsgate. And Blumhouse will be giving it back to, what's his name? James Wan for creative control over Saw. I believe they said they were gonna continue, maybe, I don't know, but I'm not expecting to see much of Saw this year. But Black Phone 2, really good movie, love the atmosphere, love the acting, and one of the actual good things that I liked about it too was that it focused more on Finney's sister, Gwen, and it focuses more on her throughout this than it does for Finney, which is good. Finney's still dealing, right? But you see her a little bit more, because she was very sidelined in the last one, and it's really cool to have her character have kind of the center stage, you know? I really appreciate that. It's a very unique take, I feel like, than a lot of people would, you know, typically do in a horror movie like that. You could have gone a lot of different ways, but a little bit of risk is kind of cool, and I appreciate that they took the time to have that risk. I'd say that Blumhouse is a good company for taking risks when it comes to horror films and taking risks on directors. They don't pan out all the time. A lot of them did not pan out. Even though Drop was really cool, I liked Drop a lot. But, you know, 'tis what it is, you know? Moving on to number 9 now. Number 9 is Chainsaw Man, the movie Res Arc. So this is where I'm going to mention this. This one and one other movie were not even in my mind last January, but this is one of those moments where the year changes you. When the other movie on this list started coming out, I started really getting into anime. I haven't had anything to watch really in a bit because I finished the 2 main series I wanted to this year. And one of those was Chainsaw Man leading up to the movie. The Chainsaw Man show is, it's good. I really like it. It has horny guys, but other than that, it's a really good show with heart and character and fun times. And Chainsaw Man, the movie Res Arc, felt like a full movie, and it's very easy for anime movies, in my personal opinion, to not really feel like an anime movie, or like a movie, sorry. And that's because they cut up their anime heavily. Like, 20 episode season is like one arc, as they say it's called, and it stretches across all those episodes. So like you're watching it across all of them, you know? And the Chainsaw Man movie felt like a whole-fledged movie that didn't feel like they were stretching it out. It feels like it's its own solo thing, and I really liked that. Another one I need to rewatch, and it was in 3D. It was the first anime released in 3D over here, I think, in the US, and it was the animation style was quite good in 3D. I really liked it. I really enjoyed the action too. There was this whole bomb character, which was kind of crazy, but it was really cool to see that on the big screen. You know what I mean? Getting to see a show that you watch get made for the big screen, especially in anime, it feels different. I don't know if there's many other people that agree with that, but getting to see something like that posted up into a big manner like that, that's what I wish Kaiju number 8 would have gotten instead of the movie that it got, which was pretty bad. I enjoyed every second of it, but it was pretty bad because it was just cut up of season 1 instead of like its own movie. And then it also just kind of felt like that movie Kaiju number 8, that they cut out like the most important sections. It didn't feel like it. They did cut out the most important sections at the end. So seeing Chainsaw Man was super enjoyable, especially after experience like that. To be fair, there was another one in between, but it was a really entertaining and enjoyable time for an anime that was very horny, and it didn't have as nearly as much of that in the movie as I thought it did. There was this jokish scene in the trailer that we were like, oh yeah, it's gonna go some places. It's definitely rated R, do not get me wrong, but I still heavily enjoyed it. I'd want to own that one if I ever get the chance to, whenever they release it. Very interesting. I'm really glad that I chose to watch. It was only one season of anime though, so that's a good thing, but I'm really glad I chose to watch it and take a risk. And that's one thing I will say is some of these movies I would not have watched this year if I didn't take a risk. Like if I didn't say, I'm interested in like Good Boy or The Life of Chuck, which I enjoyed, or Caught Stealing, which was a shockingly enjoyable experience. Marty Supreme was a good movie. I liked it. Fight or Flight was fun. You know, Toxic Avenger. The Home was another one. Most of those. And Chainsaw Man's another one of those that I wouldn't have watched. To be completely and fully honest with you, I would not have watched it if, one, I didn't get it recommended to me, and two, if I hadn't taken a risk and just decided, you know what, it's one season, let me check it out. And now I do want to check out more movies because I genuinely think, or I'm sorry, more anime, because I genuinely think I'm going to like it. So I do want to end up checking out more now. And that's one of the benefits and one of the privileges of taking a risk and watching something that you don't know if you're going to like. And look at that. It ended up in my top 10. So, yeah, Chainsaw Man. Good movie. Number 8. This one is a little bit of a weird one. It is a movie, but it's also a live show. It is the Dude Perfect The Hero Tour. Not available on digital, not available physically, not available anywhere. It was only available in theaters. I had a blast watching it. I'm very sad that it's not available anywhere. I would even prefer it on digital, even if it didn't make that much money. Please put it on digital. It's in my top 10. It's a very simple thing. It's Dude Perfect live on a stage. But they do a good job of incorporating all of their primary ideas, all of their biggest series on their YouTube channel, or the characters that they're known for, or the ideas and the concepts they created, like Cool Not Cool, and things like that. They incorporated in. They have challenges, and it narrows down to I can't remember what the trophy was called, but it was a very fun time, and it didn't need to be anything else other than fun, but I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed just being able to sit there in a theater and watch something that I grew up with and continue to watch and enjoy. It was a very pleasing and enjoyable time, and it didn't need to be anything more than that. Some of these movies are just enjoyable. And, you know, to be fair, there's not a whole lot else I can say on that other than I love the boys from Dude Perfect. They are, you know, they're great people, and they're hilarious, and they have enjoyable times, and they bring hours of joy, and they are also very, you know, family friendly. I think they're one of the channels that parents say, yeah, you can watch that and walk out of the room and not have to worry. And for those parents, and for parents who need something to put on and be able to do other stuff, that's good. That's great. They can distract their child and with extremely good content. And I appreciate that. I appreciate what they offer, and I appreciate all the amount of time they spent in their channel. And I enjoyed every second of the Dude Perfect The Hero Tour. That's probably going to be one of the shortest ones I talk on. But we're going to go to number 7 now, and this is also a Netflix release. K-Pop Demon Hunters. And this one, yes, it came out in theaters twice, actually. It had 2 short theatrical releases of 3 days apiece, a couple months apart. And the first time it came out, it did very, very well. I am happy to say I was one of the people who did not watch it on Netflix when it released. And I waited, and my first experience was watching it in theaters the first time it came around to theaters, which is why I also feel like it feels to me like an actual theatrical movie, because the only times I actually watched the movie fully were both times that they came to theaters. So I only watched it then, even though it is a fantastic movie. Very, very enjoyable. Very, very catchy songs. I still sing them every time they come up in my Apple Music playlist that I have for driving, although it's a very long playlist. So it only comes up so often. But it comes up decently often, actually. But it is a very good character movie. It's a very good animated movie. It's very enjoyable. It's very, like, beautifully animated. And it's such a fun time, man. Each character feels, you know, it makes you feel engrossed in the movie. And I love their personalities, and I love how the story unfolds from start to finish, including the demon side of things too. And simplistic ideas, but I all really like them. I don't really want to spoil, although I'm sure many people have watched it. I don't really want to spoil the minute details of the story if you haven't seen it, because that does kind of take away from the story. But the characters, the main girls in I want to say the band, K-pop band, K-pop group. That's the official word, K-pop group. Each three of the girls, they each have something that they hide, and it's more obvious than with others. But they bring it up, and they turn things into comedic bits. But that's also because, comedy is a very easy outsource for lots of different things. Pain, sorrow, lots of different things there. So it is very much a good kind of representation of what people could be dealing with, being to a certain extent, obviously, the circumstances, but it definitely feels nice to watch that unfold and then have the kind of epic conclusion for those characters in a great song, mind you. But it's a feel-good movie to a certain point, and then it's sad, and then it's a feel-good movie again. I know we have a lot of those, but part of it's just really good music, and it's just really enjoyable. And sometimes it's hard to pinpoint why you enjoy something so much. And to that point, I will say check out K-pop Demon Hunters if you have not. I think it's worth a watch, and I think you might be surprised, because I didn't think I was going to like it at first, and then I ended up being engrossed in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and then all the way to the credits. So I would highly recommend you check it out when you get the chance. Okay, moving on to number 6, and this was the one that was very outside of it. I'm like, why is this down here? And then I ended up moving it last second. Freakier Friday. Oh my goodness, I love this movie. It's such a good time. It's such a good sequel. It's so enjoyable. It's so funny. Oh, just smiling thinking about the movie. And they didn't give it a 4K physical release. That's why this is put down. No. It's such a good and enjoyable time. Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan perform really well. Most people say that the 4 switches in the movie, like the 2 and 2 switching, because there's 2 people that switch into 2 other people's bodies, so there's 4 switches total, say that it makes it more complicated, and I don't think so. I was able to keep it pretty separated. I feel like each actress was able to perform well enough for me to tell the characters apart, at least. And it's such a good time. Just to see these characters, or these actors or actresses, pretend to be other people. And I'm sure each one helped each other on their performances. And that just creates this, it's a little cheesy, but it creates a very enjoyable, cheesy, but very enjoyable time. And overall, that creates a memorable experience. And this is one of the movies that I want to buy, even though it's only available on Blu-ray, but I'll still get it. I have the first one only on Blu-ray, but it's such a good movie. I kind of wish I would watch it again right now. Check it out, please, if you have not. It's very enjoyable. Watch the trailer if you're unsure. Number 5, going back into the anime scene, and this, shockingly, is the last animated movie on my top 10 list. At number 5, which is honestly crazy. It is Demon Slayer Infinity Castle. I got obsessed with Demon Slayer. I wanna get the entire series. It's like Kaiju number 8, which I recently just got the first season collector's edition. Demon Slayer Infinity Castle. Oh my goodness, what a gorgeous movie. And just in terms of scale of CGI, it's one of the highest like set piece CGI thing because of the Infinity Castle. I was rushing to catch up with Demon Slayer so I could watch Infinity Castle in theaters, and it was so worth it. It was such a good movie. But it still had that little flaw where the like 2.5 hour runtime, and it feels like 2.5 hours, even though it's a great 2.5 hours. It's all just like one section of a whole story. Does that make sense? Most movies have a beginning, middle, and end, and this still had a beginning, middle, and end, but it feels more like a snippet out of a bigger picture. Like a 3-part thing, right? Although they announced that they're gonna make Demon Slayer 3 parts. It's still very much, or the Infinity Castle saga is gonna be 3 parts. It's very much still feels like there's way more at the beginning you need to know and way more at the end you need to know. And there's this wonderful character arc that is towards the second half of the movie. And there was a movie. Oh, what was that movie? Oh, well, it's a game. The game Last of Us 2, why I like it so much, is Abby. At the beginning of that game, I said I'd never forgive Abby for what happens in it. And by the end, I forgave her. And that's another thing here. There's a character who has a really good character arc toward the end of the movie. And that character arc is explored so much more heavily. And his character is explored so much more. We reveal more of, like, how the character came to be, who they are, and what they are. And the hardships they faced. It, at least for me, changed my whole perspective on the character and made me feel very bad for the character, like in a good way. And I was not upset for something that they did earlier in the series. And I love that so much when that happens in a movie because it's a unique experience. Seeing a character in a different way and feeling remorse for them. That doesn't happen in much media, especially in film, unless they do a really, really good job, and they did. It was such a good thing there. But the other problem, anime, they like to just have the audio be at the front. So there's very many parts of this movie that feel very quiet. Because it's just dialogue. And I'm so sad because I was surviving so long, I did get a spoiler. A slight spoiler. It was a big spoiler. And I was so annoyed. And it was like the only big spoiler in the movie after I watched it. And I was like, oh, why have you forsaken me so? But it was so enjoyable. If you have not watched that and you like anime, please do. It is such a great movie. It's such a great time. And Crunchyroll stated that Demon Slayer was not going to be streaming until into 2026. It came out in like September. And I was very happy to hear that. Because they chose to not release the movie digitally and leave it only in theaters all the way through the end of December, even though the movie wasn't going to stay that long in most theaters. It's still very impressive that they went that route. And obviously Chainsaw Man was not nearly as big of a movie. So they actually released Chainsaw Man on digital already, which is kind of crazy if you ask me. And Demon Slayer is still not on digital. Amazing. Moving on to number 4. This is also a Netflix movie. Although a sequel to a not Netflix movie. Happy Gilmore 2. Oh my goodness, this movie is amazing. I had such a great time. I died of laughter from start to end. I want to watch it again. It's such a fun, enjoyable time. Holy moly. I don't know what else to say. Quickest review, right there, done. It is such an enjoyable time, man. I don't know how to tell you that this movie is enjoyable other than it's funny. Now it's like, it's kind of corny funny. Like, it's a more earlier 2000s-ish movie. Like, keep that in mind. It's not gonna just be the straight out, like, you know, simplistic or more current day comedy, but like, it's an Adam Sandler movie, right? Like, if you don't like Adam Sandler comedy, you're not gonna like it. But there's so many cameos and so many references to the first film and so many jokes that carry over. In terms of a comedy, this is a very good sequel to a comedy. It's taking what it had and it's improving upon it, and it's making simple jokes. Like, it doesn't miss the simple jokes. It brings even some of the simple jokes back over, you know? Also, Ben Stiller's in it, which is a movie that... or an actor who really hasn't been in any movies in a long time, which I really like that he was in it, and had a bigger role than he had in the first one, which is great, too. It's such a great time, and, like... you so hope they release it physically, or that they release, you know... They do something else with it and not just keep it on Netflix. They're going to, but like, I hate Netflix, man. I hate Netflix. But seriously, have a Gilmore 2. If you like the first one at all, give this one a shot, man. Go check it out. Okay, moving next, we have number 3, and I don't believe Happy Gilmore made it onto my list, speaking of my top 10 list last time. But the next one, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, did. And actually, I'm shocked that these aren't flopped. My top 2 from last year are actually still my top... oh, my second and third one from last year are still my second and third one this year. They're just flopped. Now You See Me, Now You Don't was number 2 last year for my top 10. And this year, it's number 3. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Such a fantastic movie. Great third film. Great bring back to the franchise. It brings every single character... well... especially the Horsemen, all the Horsemans, together again. And it brought, like, a new cast of characters in, and those new cast of characters didn't feel like... they didn't feel like they were overstepping. At the end, I felt a little bit like they were overstepping, but, like, they worked their way in. Like, they kind of earned their place in there, and they didn't kick the legacy characters out at all. Right now, it just feels like they're additional characters to the story, and that's not bad. But the magical aspect of these is amazing. Absolutely love them. And they're just, like, really good, like, action comedies. And this one, no different. I thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish. I so cannot wait for them to do a 4th. They left it off in a way that they should do a 4th, so I hope they can get it going fast. They also used the name Now You See Me, Now You Don't instead of Now You See Me 3, which it took them a long time to use the title Now You See Me, Now You Don't. But I'm really glad that they did, because that was such a missed opportunity for the second one. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. But I loved it. I love it so much. I'm so glad that this has become a franchise. I'm so glad that I can continue to enjoy this movie. Overall, I'm in awe that this even came out. It's been quite a few years since the last one, and I just gotta, like, seriously, go watch it, guys. If you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen the other 2, go watch those too. They're all really good movies. They're all really enjoyable. They're magic, but they're comedies. And they're wonderful. So, moving on to number 2, which was my number 3 from last year. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Yes, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is making it into the top 2 on this year's list. You might be wondering what the top one is. You'll have to wait to find out. But Five Nights at Freddy's 2, oh my goodness, I have seen it 6 times already. That's not kidding it. Every time it has been in theaters. I absolutely adore this film. It is made for the fans. It is not for everyone. That is the first thing you need to know. It is not for everyone, but it's so enjoyable. I love the accuracy of the animatronics. I love the woven story. Like, I love every single thing about it from start to finish. I like it more than the first one. I think that's easily said for most people. Don't listen to the critics. The critics gave it so low. They're stupid. It's not for them. Like, critics watching this movie knowing they're not gonna like it because it's meant for the fans is not great. Like, when I was expecting this movie to come out and I was super excited, I didn't even bother caring about, like, the critic score. I didn't even think about it until after they released it. And I was like, oh, that's low. But seriously, it's a wonderful movie. Very, very enjoyable. I'm probably going to be waiting now until it hits Blu-ray and I can watch it again. But I definitely feel like I missed like details, and there's also a lot more YouTuber cameos in this. They're just background characters. Absolutely love it. It is such an enjoyable movie for me, and I love the acting cast. I love that Megan Fox is in it. Matthew Lillard does a great job. Skeet Ulrich, while he's in it, does a great job. Josh Hutcherson does a great job. Megan Fox wasn't too shabby as Toy Chica. And that flashback, that dream sequence / memory sequence from Vanessa was one of my favorite sequences in the entire movie. It's such an enjoyable movie. It's so enjoyable. It's such a good time, and it shows for me in my list. It made the top 2. I don't really know what else to say about it, really. But like, I love the look of the film. I love everything about it. It's genuinely a great time. And not everyone thinks so. Most people gave it 3 stars. There's still like a lot of reviews. There's only 14.5k half stars, and there's only 16.6k 4.5 stars, but you know, it's all ranging in the middle. I don't think it's too bad, at least on Letterboxd. Who gave it? I don't even know who that person is. But seriously, overall, fantastic movie. I really, really enjoyed it. I did a review on it separately, if you want to check that out, so I'm not going to spend too much more time on it here. Number 1, my most shocker movie of the year. Movie you probably haven't even heard of. It was a very limited release. It says it was 2024, but it definitely released in like January or February, I think. Let me see. Well, I should just say it. Autumn and the Black Jaguar. January 17th, 2025. So yes, this was literally second or third week of the new year. And this is from the studio that made The Wolf and the Lion, which I absolutely love. Such a good movie. And the Jaguar was a real Jaguar. Now this time, unlike The Wolf and the Lion, the Jaguar is not the same Jaguar as a kid and as adult, even though The Wolf and the Lion were, in terms of the story. They had them grow up during the movie. They are different Jaguars, but this one follows Autumn and the rarest of friendships with the lost Jaguar she named Hope. When tragic event forces her to leave Hope for New York, she dreams of going back to the rainforest and her friend. That opportunity soon comes when Autumn decides to return to the Amazon to save her beloved Jaguar from animal traffickers who threaten her childhood village. Not only does it show kind of culture of like an African, is that correct? The rainforest and turned the Amazon. Well, the Amazon, yeah. Where's the Amazon rainforest? Wherever that's at. I swear it's Africa? Africa? Perhaps? Maybe? maybe, perhaps, maybe. We'll say perhaps, maybe. Always seeing a culture and kind of how they operate and how they live is always interesting, and seeing dangerous aspects of that, like animal traffickers. Oh my goodness. Oh, I almost said the wrong thing. Animal traffickers, and how dangerous that can be. Over here in the U.S. and in certain places, you don't deal with stuff like that as much. But the thing that really shines here is the actress who plays Autumn and the Jaguar, and the relationship that they have, and it's shown on screen. And we should be scared of that Jaguar, right? But the friendship it's so breathtaking in a way. Like it fills you up when you watch it, and it's so enjoyable and so happy, right? I overall full-heartedly enjoyed every second of the movie. And I am one of 75 people on Letterboxd who gave it 5 stars, and the most amount of people who gave it 1 set of stars was 399, and that was 3 stars. But personally, I enjoyed every second of it. I'm a huge animal person, which helps, but I seriously suggest you check it out. It is such a great movie, and I enjoyed every second of it. So there we go, guys. Autumn and the Black Jaguar is my #1 pick for this year. And actually, we went a couple minutes longer. We're going to go over the hour mark this time. So we're going to go hopping right in. So I've mentioned, I do want to check my last one. So Final Destination 6, we mentioned, was number 24 on my list. Bambi the Reckoning actually went down pretty far, but I knew it was going to be down there, so I wasn't shocked when it was down there. But it's at number 59. It was always going to be a B movie. It was going to get caught up in everything else. It was just bound to happen. Until Dawn is number 48. Again, I really liked that movie, but it definitely shows that they just wanted to make a movie and they wanted to make it for new audiences, but also fans of the game, and that can always bog the movie down. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Zootopia 2, we know, is in my top 10 technically, because 3 of them were not necessarily full movies. So Zootopia 2 made it in the top 10. It was about where I thought it would be. Until Dawn was number 9 though. How to Train Your Dragon. Where did that even go on the list? Number 35. I still thoroughly enjoyed this movie, but it definitely is just a rehashing of like what came before. But I still thoroughly enjoyed it. It's How to Train Your Dragon. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning at number 30. Not much to say. Enjoyable movie. I enjoyed it. Long, but enjoyable movie. Wake Up Dead Man, we know where that ranks already. Black Phone 2, we know where that ranks. Saw 11 was delayed. FNAF 2, we know where that ranks. Now You See Me, Now You Don't, we know where that ranks. And Freaky Friday, we know that ranks. And Happy Gilmore 2 was not a theatrical release like I thought it was not going to be. So because of that, it technically didn't make the list. Although it did, but it technically didn't, because this list is a theatrical release list, typically. Okay. On to the honorable mentions for next year. Violent Night 2, December 4th, 2026 is the current planned release date. That is a sequel to Violent Night, starring David Harbour, where he's Santa and just kind of saves some people from, I think, being held hostage, basically. Simple movie, but it's going to probably be an enjoyable movie. Angry Birds 3, December 23rd, 2026. This takes the December slot next year. Kids movie. There's typically one a year. This year was SpongeBob, The Search for SquarePants. Next year, it's the Angry Birds 3 movie, unless something else magically appears there. But typically, they leave one animated movie a year for the Christmas section. Zootopia 2 was kind of like the real keeper for the holiday season. But Angry Birds 3, I'm excited to see where they go. That's pretty much it. Werewolf, December 25th, Christmas Day next year. Current planned release date. It is a more true to accurate werewolf movie about werewolves. Not the exact same way from what I understand as to what you think, but I believe it's from the person that made Nosferatu. There you go, Nosferatu. And I actually quite like that movie, so I'm excited to see what happens there. Coyote vs. Acme, August 28th, current release. Very interested and excited to see that. I don't know much about that, but I'm really glad that we're getting it. Paw Patrol, the Dino movie, August 14th. I added some kids' movies in there. The Paw Patrol movies are fine. They're enjoyable. They're a good time. It's going to be a watch where I go and watch it and I'm like, yeah, this is fun. And then we leave it at that. Hoppers, March 6th. This was originally in my top 2026 movies, but I ended up changing it and not putting it in there over another movie, although, again, Hoppers is more original. I am very, very excited for it, but the other one won just slightly over it. Evil Dead Burn, just the next one after Evil Dead Rise. I'm interested. Supergirl, June 26th. Evil Dead Burn was July 24th. June 26th, Supergirl. I'm very interested, just don't know much about it. That's why I didn't make my top 10 list. And The Sheep Detectives, May 8th. The Sheep Detectives are about sheep that have to solve the murder of their shepherd. It sounds like a great time. And then I was going to do I forgot to do the little info, so upcoming 2026 movies with little info. Again, another year gone. Passion of the Christ Resurrection has no new information. I thought we were going to get something new. We really didn't get anything. So, yeah. Passion of the Christ Resurrection. Unknown, but I'd still say if it were to come out, it'd probably be in April of this year. So, let's keep an eye out. First couple of months here are going to be pretty important. Air Bud returns. Apparently a new Air Bud movie. That's about as much as I know. Pinocchio Unstrung. Also, don't know. It was supposed to be out last year. It is now coming out this year? Maybe? Who knows? Same thing with Pooniverse Monsters Assemble. Maybe this year? We'll see. Unknown. The Batman 2. Maybe this year as well? Probably not. I think it's the year after. Cruella 2. Also, again, another year. No new information on Cruella 2. But there is still at least one Disney animated or Disney slot open for the year, so it could easily be like the August or September release. Cruella 2, where like Freakier Friday came out this year. It could have definitely been that one. So, we're definitely going to have to see. There's also Ebenezer, A Christmas Carol, November 13th. This was on my top 10 list originally. Got moved out for something else. But this is going to star Johnny Depp, and it's another new telling of the old Ebenezer Christmas Carol type of story. And I'm very interested, because it does star Johnny Depp. And Shrek 5 was delayed to next year, so no Shrek 5 this year. But I do not think that's a bad thing, because there is a lot of movies in December of this year. And several of these movies, 2 of them, are actually in December. So starting with number 10, starting with a movie that I'm excited for, coming out in January, not too long, is Return to Silent Hill. Don't know much about it, but we know it's taking off from the second game as an adaptation. I am very, very interested. I believe it's from the same studio that made Terrifier 3 and 2. Not necessarily bad, just very interested to see what this has to offer on January 23rd. Number 9, this is the one that Hoppers got replaced with, and that's Toy Story 5. It was a real close call, choosing between them, but Toy Story being the bigger of it did impact me putting it on the list. I don't think I mind another Toy Story, but I am cautiously optimistic about it. There's been a lot of them, and Disney just really wants money from Pixar, so Toy Story breeds money. unlike Lightyear, that does not. So they want to keep creating Toy Stories. So hopefully it's really good. All we know is malfunctioning buzzes are the villains, from my understanding. So we'll see what happens. And number 8, this is going to kind of shock people at how low this is, but Avengers Doomsday, December 18th. I am not very excited. I'm going to get hyped the closer we get, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. The marketing that's currently out for Doomsday, for Avatar, that they're putting in front is super lame. There's not a whole lot there. They're just trying to get people in seats to sell tickets to Avatar and vice versa. They're hoping $1 billion property will help the other $1 billion property. Back and forth, back and forth. But, and even so much so that they're doing a re-release of Endgame just because Doomsday is coming out. I don't know if it'll have connection to Endgame, but they're re-releasing Endgame into theaters in like September, so yay. But I'm excited. I'm cautiously excited because I don't feel like this movie's been set up enough, but we'll find out. I'll get a lot more excited the closer we get. Number 7, The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping, November 20th. I am very excited for this, actually. This looks like finally we're going back to what the Hunger Games were. I liked the last movie, but dang if, I'm going to be honest, the last movie didn't feel really like a Hunger Games movie. So this one looks like it's going to go back a lot more to the roots of what the Hunger Games are. And I think it's going to be quite a great time. Plus, Josh Hutcherson might have a cameo in it, from my understanding. And that's really cool as well. Number 6, Resident Evil, September 18th. It is time again for another Resident Evil, and as how much I've enjoyed this franchise, it goes almost smack dab in the middle of the list, because I'm excited for it. The person who made produced Companion, but then made Barbarian, and was it Weapons? No, was it Weapons? No, there was another movie that they made. What was it? Barbarian. It was Weapons. We made Weapons, which is a very good movie. I really enjoyed it. Is making Resident Evil. So I am very interested in it, and I am interested to see what happens. And it's described as a reboot that won't retell the story from game series, but will return the franchise's suspense horror roots and be more faithful to the spirit of the earlier games. So, no idea. It's not going to really be connected to the games, so who knows if it's going to be good, but I'm very excited to see. Number 5, one that got added last second. Spider-Man Brand New Day, July 31st. I wasn't really excited for this at first. Again, superhero movies nowadays I'm not really excited for until they release. But it's Spider-Man. Come on. I'm super excited. Not as excited as other stuff on this list, but I'm excited. Number 4, Jumanji 3. Cannot wait for Jumanji 3. That's releasing December 11th. That's the other December movie. 1 week before Avengers Doomsday. Giving it only a week to really dominate the market. But very, very enjoyable franchise thus far, and I cannot wait to see what they do with the third one. Probably going to have to do a double feature watch before the third one comes out. Number 3, a sequel I am very excited to see, coming out March 27th. Ready or Not, Here I Come. The sequel to Ready or Not. That movie was fantastic, and I can't wait for this one. Not much else to say, but I am very excited. There is one actress who played in Freaky. I don't remember her name, but I am so excited. Number 2, sorry. Scream 7, February 27th. I'm super, 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 super excited for Scream 7. Matthew Lillard is returning, which is awesome. There'll be a movie within 2 months of each other that release that both will have Matthew Lillard in it. I'm very, very, very excited to see this movie, as I am most Scream movies, and I cannot wait. And number 1, a little bit of an oddball choice, but Iron Lung. That comes out January 30th. This is Markiplier's movie. This movie has a big impact for first-time directors. It started off in like 60 theaters and got to over 2,000 theaters. And Markiplier directed, edited, produced, and starred in it all himself. I am very, very interested and excited to see this, and see what's gonna come of it. So, yeah. There we go, guys. I am going to end it here, though, because we are at 1 hour and 12 minutes, a little longer than I wanted to go. But I do hope you have enjoyed. Thank you all for a fantastic year. Happy New Year. And on to this crazy, crazy year I'm sure it'll be for film. So, thank you all so much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.